Thank you all so much. You've given great definitions and really been honest about mental health, and even in giving your thoughts, that is vulnerable and that's helping other people. So I want you to know that I'm proud of all of you for sharing that. And so if I can see the slide bigger, because I didn't learn my definitions off by heart. So mental health includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It affects how we think, feel, and act. Our mental health is impacted. This is what I think is the most important, because I think there's an understanding of what it is, but there isn't always an understanding of what impacts and what leads to our specific mental health. So there are biological factors such as genes or brain chemistry. So the same way that certain people just develop cancer, one person could be a lifelong smoker and never get cancer. One person can never have a cigarette in their life and get lung cancer and die from it. It's the same with mental health. Certain people are just simply predisposed to mental health issues. And when I say predisposed, I mean it is in your biology that you may make less serotonin in your brain, and that is absolutely okay. There are ways to rectify that. And then the second thing, mental health is impacted by life experiences such as trauma or abuse. And trauma, as I'll explain next week, is different for each individual. So I've only lived my life. I've never lived Auntie Petty's life. I've never lived Miss Tanya's life. I've never lived Pastor Munashe's life. Each of us have our own traumas, and we can only understand them proportionate to what we've experienced. And so for some people, like a baby, a bee sting may be a big trauma. But for other people, it could be losing your parents or being sick or failing at something that you really, really wanted. Those can all be traumas, and I'll explain in the coming weeks how we have big T's and small T's. And then finally, family history and oops, family history and something about problems. For those of you online, because you're all in the chat, I can't see the rest of the sentence.
Mental health.
Yeah, that's what it is. Family history of mental health problems. And so the same way that mental health is biological, it can also, certain mental health disorders are genetic and run through the family. So if one person in the family has suffered from borderline personality disorder or anxiety disorder or bipolar disorder or schizophrenia, it can be passed down. And so I think it's important to really understand that it's a combination. Oh, thank you. I mean, this is the last slide. It's a combination of all of these different factors that really make up our mental health. And what's amazing about the fact that it's a combination of all these different factors is that you can tackle each one separately in order to improve your mental health. And I will speak on that as we go on. I'll just give you a little sneak peek. So for example, with biological factors such as low serotonin levels, serotonin is basically the happiness drug in the brain. You can take SSRIs, which are they are antidepressants that help you and lift up serotonin levels in your brain. And there's a lot of stigma around taking antidepressants, but if you had cancer, would you skip chemo? No. And then secondly, life experiences, talking therapy, going to different groups, and I'll provide some resources at the end of these slides. But there's a lot of ways in which we can come to terms with our life experiences, forgive people, ask for forgiveness, and move on to live our lives in the best way possible. And then finally, with family histories of mental health, understanding that, and sometimes it's just part of your family, and you don't have to be so hard on yourself. The same way you didn't choose your nose. I mean, some people do eventually, but you didn't choose your height, you didn't choose your shoe size, and you didn't choose to have mental health issues. And so just having that understanding that it's not your fault and you're not alone is so important. And so that concludes today's kind of presentation. I hope that my story was able to really impact even just one person. If anyone out there could relate, it really means a lot to me. And yeah, I hope that we have a better understanding of what mental health is. And then finally, I'm just going to share some resources. So we'll just, if you want people online, you can take a screenshot of the next slide. If we just go to the next slide. This is just a quote that I love from one of the psychologists I follow. He says, mental health is not a destination, but a process. It's about how you drive, not where you're going. And then finally, we have a page, the last slide, which is some resources, hotlines that you can call in crisis. We have for Zimbabwe, Lesotho. Oh, wait, there is a way out, guys. Sorry, I mixed up the order. Wait, go back to that. I look great. My confidence is back. No, I just included some pictures. And as we go along through the weeks, you'll be able to see that my life, taking care of my mental health, I've been able to take my life back. I have amazing friends. I talk to my siblings, all of them, all the time. And trust me, if you had told them that 2 years ago, they would have laughed. And I have amazing relationships with my parents, and I have a bae. So, so I hope that as we go along this journey, these 12 weeks, that we can all take strides in our mental health, take back our lives, and take control, and understand that we are not alone. So thank you. And then last slide, if you can all screenshot it, it has some resources. And there's one actually that I'll explain because it may not be so evident what it is. Oh, actually, I didn't include it. I'll include it when we talk about codependency. Well, I might as well just say it now. Basically, in the next week, we're going to talk about codependency. And there's a fellowship that I join every single day. Auntie Patty actually joined the other day when I was facilitating it for the first time. It's called Codependence Anonymous. And it's basically based off of the principles of Alcoholics Anonymous, which follow what's called the 12 steps and the 12 traditions. And so in Codependence Anonymous, the first step is we admitted we were powerless against people and that our lives had become unmanageable. And then step 2 is came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. And then as the steps go through, you come to understand that God can remove those personal character defects, and you can live your life in a way that you create boundaries with other people, that you're able to really live your best life. And so for me, I log on to this. It's only an hour every day. It's anonymous. There's people from all over the world that join. You just say your first name. Sometimes you don't even have to speak if you don't want to. And it's an opportunity to just share with other people who may be struggling with the same things. And so there's lots of these fellowships. So I used to attend Overeaters Anonymous too. And that one was, we admitted to ourselves that we were powerless against food and our lives had become unmanageable. But yeah, these are some really amazing resources. On here on the screen, we have different hotlines for different places. If you're ever in crisis, you can call these numbers. They're 24 hours. And these at my university, we had one of these. And in some of my dark times, I just called them and I didn't even know who was on the other side, but it felt good that there was just someone there to listen and listen in a non-judgmental way. So I hope that you guys are excited for the next 11 weeks. I feel really honored that I have had this opportunity. Why am I crying? That I've had this opportunity to share with all of you about my mental health journey, and I feel so much pride and gratitude. So thank you, and let's take back our lives.